and it's not something I can necessarily say I've experienced in a trail shoe before. So welcome back to the channel. Today I have a review of a trail shoe. Now those of you who watch this channel regularly will know I am more of a road runner. However, I do try some trail shoes here and there. So yeah, I have a first impressions review of the Saucony Endorphin Edge. I've kindly been sent this for the purpose of the review by Saucony prior to the release of this shoe. The Endorphin Edge comes out in late August 2022, and I've had this in July for testing. I've now run 50 kilometers on the trails. In today's video, I'll start off by going over some of the specifications of this trail running shoe. I'll then go over some of my likes and dislikes, followed by my conclusions as to whether you should pick this up when it comes out in the next few months, as well as sort of talk about what I'm going to use this for moving forward and who's it best suited for. So as I said, I'm not a huge trail runner, but I have tried a few trail shoes. I've tried the Nike Pegasus range, so the Pegasus Trail and also the Terra Kyga. On first impressions, this is a completely different type of trail shoe, hence why I called this video sort of a new breed of trail shoes. With a carbon fibre plate, it's much more responsive than anything else I've tried on the trail. The only thing it sort of compares to that I've personally tried is the Hoka Tecton X. Rather than make this a video comparing the two shoes, they're both kind of designed for similar purposes. I would just say the Saucony has a little bit more cushioning, so it's more designed for the longer distance. And actually I found I'd probably say this one a little bit more responsive on the rougher terrain. So let's jump into some specifications of the Edge. So we have a 6mm drop, we have 36mm of foam in the heel, dropping to a 30mm in the forefoot. So yeah, fairly high stack height, especially for a trail shoe. In my UK 7.5, it weighs 252 grams, which is about 6 grams heavier than the Tecton X. But then again, it has got a bit more cushioning, so that's probably where the extra weight comes from. But 252 grams in my size for a trail shoe is exceptional. On the bottom of this shoe, we've got this, it's called Power Tracks from Saucony, which is their lugs. Interestingly, the ones on the front face forward and the ones on the back face backwards. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But yeah, 4mm lugs on the bottom, which is great for sort of not too aggressive trails, sort of buffed out trails that I have around in my local area here in Essex. And obviously with only 4mm on the bottom, you can comfortably run on the road to the trails in this shoe, which for me is quite important in a trail shoe. The midsole is the Power Run PB, which is Saucony's most responsive midsole, found in their the Pro 3 that's just come out from their carbon road racing shoe. So interesting to see that they've used the same foam in their trail range. Very responsive if you've ever used that midsole. Nice and soft as well, which is really nice on the trails. Onto the upper, we sort of have a single mesh upper. It's not actually that thin, it's quite thick I'd say, but I guess for a trail shoe it needs to be a little bit more protective to stop sort of dust and debris getting into the shoe. And there's no toe counter, which is something to note, no toe cap. So I know some more aggressive trail shoes have a bit more protection up there, so if you stub your toe, there's not a big bit of plastic there covering your toe, so that is something to note. There's a good amount of cushioning. This shoe gives me a racing vibe. I don't know if that's the intention from Saucony, but there's also enough cushion there for you to log sort of longer miles in it. So yeah, I would probably be comfortable using this shoe for an ultra marathon, say a 50 kilometer on the trail. This would be a great option, especially because of that sort of higher stack height, which is very forgiving on the legs. So they are some of the main specifications for this shoe. I'll just go over some of my likes and dislikes before I give you my conclusion and what I'm going to use this shoe for moving forward. So yeah, onto my likes. The main sort of standout feature for this shoe is how responsive this shoe feels on sort of rugged and rougher terrain. So like gravelly paths and sort of grassy areas. This shoe feels really responsive, and it's not something I can necessarily say I've experienced in a trail shoe before. They're often quite quite stable, rigid shoes, whereas this one feels nice and bouncy, which is a really good feeling. It also has a really nice sort of rocker-like feel. They have speed roll technology for Saucony, that's what they call it. It just helps you transition nicely onto the toes. Something else I really enjoyed when I was testing it is the grip on this shoe. As I said, the lugs are forward facing on the front and backwards facing on the rear. So when you're going downhill, these lugs on the back will really help you grip the trails. And I sort of went on some up and down trails, and I thought, oh, let's just send it on a few of these downhills to see how the shoe performs on sort of like gravelly downhills. And yeah, I was really shocked at how well this shoe done, especially because it's only 4mm of lugs. I know a lot of other trail shoes might have slightly deeper lug depth, but the 4mm for me on the terrains that I have in my local area were more than adequate, and I didn't slip at all in this shoe. So yeah, the grip for me, they've done a really good job of this outsole here. Another one of my likes is just the build quality of this shoe from Saucony. You can just tell it's built to last. It's built to withstand some of the terrain that you're going to be running on. Obviously there's stones, there's sticks, there's water, mud, and yeah, this shoe is really well built, and you can just tell that from having it in hand. Some of the stitching is really nice in the sort of this area here, which helps with the lockdown. It's just really well made, and yeah, I can tell the shoe is going to last no matter what I put it through out on the trails. And finally, another one of the big plus points was the overall comfort of this shoe. As I said, built for speed, but it still has a nice amount of cushioning in the heel. The tongue is gusseted, so it sits very nicely on top of the foot. Again, there's a little bit of cushioning there on the tongue, but not too much. And the toe box, there was enough space in there for my feet to sort of splay out a little bit, which I like in a trail shoe. So yeah, overall comfort was very, very good. Moving on to some of my dislikes, one of which was the upper of this shoe. It wasn't necessarily that breathable, and I guess that can be said for a lot of trail shoes. So it's not necessarily like a deal breaker for me. That is to stop the debris getting in, I know that. But yeah, my foot did get a little bit warm on the first few runs, so I might want to consider a thinner pair of socks next time. Another one of my dislikes was this colorway. Obviously, the pink and gold is pretty out there. I'm not really a fan of gold on shoes. I don't mind the pink, but yeah, I can't say that this colorway is my cup of tea. I know this shoe's going to be coming out in sort of a navy colorway as well as a black colorway, so those are the ones I'd probably look at picking up. Unless you really like the pink, then obviously go for it. If you want to stand out on the trails, then this is the shoe for you. And the only final sort of dislike I can think of for this shoe was that lack of toe cap. There is sort of a thicker layer of rubber here, which does offer some protection, but if you really smash into sort of a big rock or a tree root out on the run, you're not going to get like maximum protection from this shoe. So yeah, just something to note. Not necessarily something I look for in a trail shoe. I prefer a lighter build like this shoe, but I know some people that is really, really important. So yeah, that's my first impressions of the Saucony Endorphin Edge. A phenomenal shoe, and I know when this shoe comes out in late August, it's going to do really well. I think it's going to sell out. So if you're looking at getting a trail shoe for running out on the trails, for races, if you do any speed work out there on the rougher terrain, then this would be a great shoe for you. I would be confident, as I said, racing a 50km race in this shoe. There's enough cushion there that protects the legs. That Power Run PB is really nice and soft, but it doesn't compromise on that responsiveness. Enough cushioning in the heel and tongue area to maximise the comfort for the long duration. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please leave a like and comment. What trail running shoes have you tried recently, and what are your favourites at the moment? Let me know if you're going to pick this up from Saucony. I'm really excited to log plenty more miles in this summer and on to the winter when the trails get a little bit wetter around here. But yeah, until next time, aspire to run to inspire, and we'll see you again soon.